Hi, and welcome to All Things Cozy with Matt.
And Gillian.
We are a bi weekly podcast about everything that is warm, soft, and comforting. Everyone else may be obsessing over HBO's heated rivalry. And look, we appreciate steamy locker room scenes as much as the next person. But this Valentine's Day, we're flirting with some low stakes rivals turned lovers. Whether you're a Coke cultist or a Pepsi purist, we're here to prove that even the bitterest enemies can find a sweet resolution. Before we share which feuds we're fans of, let's fuel our focus with a little tea time. Gillian, what's filling your cup this week?
I don't have any tea in my cup, but I did have a loose hog enter my life this week. And I filled Matt in a little bit, but I don't think he got the full scope of the
Oh, that's
story.
right. The photo you sent of an actual hog in your backyard.
Yes. And why it's making me feel cozy and is filling up my cup is because I made friends with my neighbors through the experience. And I moved here about maybe a year and a half ago, and I haven't really made friends with my neighbors. And I like having friendly conversations with my neighbors and getting to know them at least a little bit. I don't have to be best friends, but I like the camaraderie. And so I was walking Canella down the street, my dog, and I see this rustling on the opposite side of the sidewalk. And I thought maybe it could be the hog because I have seen this hog once before behind this gate. So there's this one of the houses has long descending stairs and then this skinny black door gate. And it's filled with trash and it has a dirty Muppet attached to the gate. So it looks a little bit menacing.
Like an actual Muppet from Jim Henson's.
Yes.
Which Muppet has the ill fate
He has
of,
red hair. I don't have to go back and look.
like, Pepe?
I'll snap you a pic next time I go. I pass it every day and
Animal?
maybe
The drummer?
I will find out. But when I first saw the hog, I was with my dad and he was in town. And when your parents come to visit, you really want them to have like a good experience. You live in a good place, whatnot. And so we come across the hog and my dad was like, holy, that's where we were all very startled by it. And so I knew the hog was a possibility, but I don't think he would ever get loose. And so I see him and Canella sees the hog too and just turns right around and races, drags me back up the street with her. And so I tell my partner that I saw the loose hog and she doesn't believe me. So then I say, okay, I'm going to go take a photo for you. So now I'm running down the street with my phone and this guy in a truck pulls up alongside me and he goes, hey, is that your hog down there? I think he thought it was mine because I seemed very like I was urgent. I was after this hog, but it was for a photo, not because it's my hog. So then I'm getting to talk with him and we're talking about the hog. What should we do? He's with his daughter and the daughter's really cute. She's telling me about the hog sightings and whatnot. And so then we're looking for it and we see it in someone's yard, just eating their yard, going to town on their yard. And so the guy in the truck is just idling next to me and he's looking at me like, are you going to go tell the guy in that house that the hog's eating his lawn? Like somehow I became the hog representative.
You never asked for this.
So I go to this guy's door and I say, excuse me, sir, but there's a hog eating your lawn right now. He goes, what? And so he comes out and we see the hog and we're all talking about it. And I know it's just a flurry of excitement. And I'm getting gossip about the neighborhood. I'm giving my intel when I've seen the hog. They're giving their intel. We're trying to figure out how we're going to get a hold of this guy who lives behind the Muppet Gate. And I guess we're had to nominate someone because I don't know, it doesn't look so welcoming, but the guy with the daughter went and I guess talked to him. And so once we got a hold of the guy, I said, okay, well, nice to meet all of you. I'm going to go now. I didn't see the rescue of the hog, but every day since the guy with the lawn the hog was eating, we've talked almost every single day.
That's amazing. See, this hog has brought you together. Well, does the hog have a name?
I asked him and the guy said, I didn't want to get too close. So we don't know. No one
Is he
knows his
planning
name.
on eating it?
I know. Apparently, this has been an ongoing thing. Like this hog has been around for a while because last time, I guess he did get loose once before he lived here, and they were trying to track him on camera. So I guess he was gone for a longer time.
Mm.
So the delivery man, I got the intel later that week. The delivery man left the gate open. I think it's just a pet hog. He is massive.
Without a name, though.
He's a nameless, massive hog, and I'm not trying to exaggerate. He is massive. So it was exciting. I made friends with my neighbors, put a pep in my step, and he seemed like a nice hog. We just didn't want to get in by the coyotes or hurt by a car.
I'm sorry that you got scared by a massive hog, but I'm really glad that it brought you together with your neighbors and things like that do bring you together. And I do feel a little bad that as a pet, it doesn't have a name or it doesn't seem like, I don't know. Obviously, someone cares for it, like they're taking care of it. It could be something that everyone in the neighborhood loves. Oh, you rascal, your hog's out again. It is such like a little house on the prairie kind of problem to have in Los Angeles.
The guy did ask me, he's like, "Should we call animal control?" And I was like, No, I think you're telling me this hog has been around for years." I don't know, they kept on going to me, not that I can't handle it and, "Oh, let the men folk handle it," but they kept on, like, trying to ask for my opinion about what we should call animal control, like, how should we get in touch with people. He even said to me at one point, "Are you gonna go catch him?" Like, I was gonna grab him.
I've always said that you really do give off hog wrangler. That's the energy that you exude.
Of course, of course. So, yeah, I really got some excitement in my life.
That is very exciting. That's a great story. That's gonna be a gift that keeps on giving, and who knows, be ready for the next time that hog's gonna break out of its gate.
Hog it around. What's filling up your cup?
I will say from a drink perspective, I'm not having it right now, and I have to give my husband credit. He's the one that really discovered this. But at 7-Eleven, and I don't know how long they've had this, but they have really great nitro cold brew or vanilla cold brew. And like you can pull the tab and everything. Like it's not bad quality. It's very high quality cold brew at a very low cost. And so we've been living off the stuff. We're not going to mess with any of those high-priced, highfalutin Starbucks or whatever. We're going to go straight to 7-Eleven and get the good stuff. So I just want to point that out. Like if you're looking for some cheap, high-quality cold brew, look no further than 7-Eleven. I don't think they have it at every location, but check.
That sounds delicious. That's a hot tip. I
Yeah.
haven't seen a lot of 7-Elevens around Los Angeles, which I've been missing because they're all over the East Coast. Where's your 7-Eleven?
Oh, they're everywhere in the basin. I can think of at least 3 7-Elevens in my radius.
Oh, we only had one 7-Eleven in my old neighborhood, and I haven't seen any around here. I need to get a 7-Eleven locator.
You spend too much time on the east side. I don't know what's going on over there with your 7-Elevens, but over here, we have plenty of 7-Elevens.
Wow.
But what's new with me in general kind of connects back to our game night episode. And I had mentioned the board game Boop, aka a very thinky game for two clever cats. Did you know, Gillian, that you can now boop on the bus?
Wow, booping all around town.
That's right. Just a few months ago, Smirk and Dagger, the game's publisher, released a digital version of the game called Boop World. It's a digital version of the game and it's free. So it's a great way to learn how to play it. And you can play a quick game on the go. You can practice your skills. They have like a versus AI mode, which I noticed that and I was like, are we calling that one player mode versus AI now? I don't like that. Like it used to be like just one player mode or player versus computer. I'm comfortable with that. We have to call it AI anyway.
Yeah.
There are some bugs that need to be groomed out of this cat's code, but I'm excited to see how it develops because it was nice to play Boop on the go. It's a quick way to like spend a few minutes. And I really love that game that I mentioned because it's very strategic, but it's also very short. And I love a really quick strategy game.
I gotta check that out because you got me the original Boop game for Christmas, which we just played for the first time last week. We were confused because we had an odd number of cats to kittens. So we need, I think, more of a tutorial. We got into a few fights about it, and I was gonna text you for help, but your notifications were silent. So like, I'll talk to him later about it.
Do you not disturb me with your boob questions? So the way you play the game is it's really simple, and the premise is that you have cats on the bed and they're booping each other off the bed. The board is literally like a little bed, and the first person to get 3 adult cats in a row win the game.
Oh, we thought we had all the cats had to be gone.
No. Did you
Okay,
read the
so
directions?
I was like, Jason, this has a Mensa sticker for children. Like, or clearly we're not happy in this. We watched multiple YouTube tutorials. Our voices were raised. I almost said, we're not playing anymore. I said, I
I almost
packed.
destroyed your relationship with Boop. I'm sorry. No, the way you play it is you start with kittens and then you graduate to adult cats. And once you transform a kitten into a cat, those kittens leave the game. You put them like in the box.
Yeah.
And so then you start to get 3 adult cats in a row. But you can also win by placing all 8 adult cats on the board. That's an alternative win con. But that's pretty difficult to do because then you also have to worry about graduating all of your kittens and turning them into cats when you don't need to do that to win the game to get 3 in a row. So the faster way to do it is to just get your cats, put them in a row. But obviously, like you're trying to, before that other person can get, let's say, tic-tac-toe, essentially, you are trying to block them by booping their cats out of the way so they don't get 3 in a row.
I think I got it now because we were just trying to get all of the cats and kittens off the board, but once we have our first row of 3 adult cats, it's over.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're not trying to get cats off the board. You're trying to get your cats in a row, and then you're disrupting each other.
That's a super cute game.
It is a cute game and really cute little board pieces. And again, the app has a long way to go because right now, one way they make money is by having you purchase digital skins for the player pieces or different kinds of beds you're playing on. And you get gold for reaching achievements in the app. And it's really easy to get gold. And so I've already like unlocked every single bed you can play. But the cats you have to pay for. Like if I want to play more from just the basic pieces, I have to pay like $1.99 or whatever. And I'm not motivated to do that. I think they have to figure out another way to like make money from the app. But I will say the other modes that they have, because they have holiday versions, there's a Halloween boop, and then there's a Christmas boop the halls. They don't have the Christmas one in there yet, but they do have the Halloween one, but you have to pay to unlock that. I get that. I think that makes total sense. You want another game mode, you got to pay for it. But
Yeah.
I think they just released it. Like it's only 3 months old, so it's very early in the development. They haven't even officially announced it on their website, so I think I might have accidentally
Wow.
found it
Yeah, you're just looking around and
on the ground bed here for the mobile boop game.
you're deep into Boop World.
Welcome to my boop world. You're just living in
Yeah.
it. Yeah, check it out. It's fun.
Thank you for that. I'm gonna check it out because I need all the booping practice I can get.
Exactly. And then you can't make moves that are illegal on it because it will prevent you. So there you go.
There you go.
Well, Gillian, are we ready to transform some struggles for dominance into smooches of devotedness?
I'm ready.
I don't know about you, but my social media feed has been swarmed with Ilya and Shane shipping and videos about their big, beautiful, budding relationship. Heated Rivalry is a bit too spicy for the all things cozy verse. And no, book club members don't even dare mention our pick of Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal last month, which took us also by surprise. But it got us thinking about those not so heated rivalries that make us swoon with coziness. After all, not every feud needs to burn red hot before feelings of fondness are found. We've each chosen our favorite low stakes rivalries that, either through time or circumstances, have softened into friendly competition, or even true love. We really opened our minds and our hearts with this one, considering rivalries and domains as different as brands, foods, public figures, fictional characters, and more. So, Jillian, what's a rivalry that has led to some love, even if just in your appreciation of a little friendly competition?
Yeah, when I was trying to think of rivalries to talk about, what popped into my head was book clubs, celebrity book clubs to be exact, because there's just so many of them and it feels every other month there's a new celebrity book club. And so I tried to pick two that would be more easy to compare. And I didn't include Oprah as a contender because you can't put up anyone against Oprah, and her book club has been around forever and it's just so popular. So I chose a more established contender against a newbie. And so the established contender is Reese's Book Club, which was founded in 2017. And then Dua Lipa, her book club, Service 95, which launched in 2022.
And that's Reese Witherspoon, not Reese's the candy.
Yes.
Or Reese's your cat.
Yes. I would love if Reese's had a book club. I mean, I think blow all of these posers out of the water, but
So Reese Witherspoon, the actress.
yes. And she has a very popular book club. And I think Dua having a book club proves my point that every celeb and their brother has a book club. And Reese's focuses on women-driven narratives and fiction, mostly thrillers and romance. And in 2020, the club expanded to include YA. And then Dua's picks are more broad, telling powerful stories spanning fiction, memoir, and manifesto, per the club's website. I'm not sure what manifestos they're reading over in Dua's club. What makes Dua's club stands out, they focus on additional interviews with authors, and she has accompanying curated playlists, which is pretty cool, while Reese likes to option her picks. So think Big Little Lies and Daisy Jones and the Six. Those are just a few titles that made it to the screen. And I also came across this really amazing website called Marie the Third, and she put together all of the celebrity book clubs you could ever think of, and then went to their Goodreads and found their overall ratings from the books that they picked over the years. So this is as of September 2025. So these are fresh ratings and stats. And she found that Dua's club has a 4.03 rating on Goodreads, while Reese has a 3.91. Where Dua falls short, she has 117,000 followers, while Reese has 3 million. So that's a big difference, but Dua is on the rise. And The Guardian recently published the article, "Is Dua Lipa the best literary interviewer?" And frankly, I found the article pretty convincing. So she's really on the rise. Something about her book club is taking off. So they are different in many ways, and they each have their own specific quirks and focuses and whatnot. But overall, why it's cozy, no matter what you might think about celeb driven book clubs, it's pretty cool that books are entering the pop culture sphere and mainstream media like never before. I'm thinking book talk, it's just all over, especially with Gen Z. And I've mentioned this before. And it seems like the general investment in reading seems to be up. And it's also great that celeb book clubs try to have their own thing or differentiate from one another. So the more competition, the better options for readers. I don't know which one I would pick, and I went back and forth. I think I would go with Reese just because I love the fact that she options the titles. I think that's pretty cool. And she's one of the first, I think, celebrities to kind of pioneer that. So it's pretty neat. But I don't know. It seems like Dua's taken off too. So I haven't really dabbled in many celebrity book clubs, but who knows? Maybe I'll give Dua a shot and pick up a manifesto or two.
I had no idea. I'm looking at this article that you mentioned in Marie the Third, and I had no idea all these celebrities had book clubs, which I find really cozy and wonderful because of just promoting reading. When we were kids, we had the big read campaign where celebrities were holding books in our libraries on posters. And I feel like these celebs are doing what they can in social media land to promote books and reading. And I think that's wonderful. And it is interesting though that like for the most part, we are splitting hairs because the ratings are so close to each other when it looks at average rating. And I think that's just the fact of the math working out to a certain extent where you're going to pretty much land around four most of the time. However, it does really interest me that Sarah Jessica Parker's book club has by far the lowest average rating of 3.5. And the book club with the highest rating on Goodreads, average rating, is RuPaul's book club, which I find fascinating.
See, there's just so many that I've picked from, and I could have really run the gamut here. And it's so wild. But it's like you said, it doesn't matter where it's coming from, as long as we're promoting and encouraging reading, that's great. And that's what's important. But I think it does feel overwhelming which book club to pick. So a site like this that really breaks it down is helpful. But I don't think that there's this huge competition between Reese and Dua Lipa.
Right. No, yeah, definitely not.
But I think I was just trying to have a pairing that maybe like the establishment versus a newcomer, younger celeb who's trying kind of unique things with their book club
Mhm.
and seeing how that pans out. Because will she leave Reese in the dust?
Reese Witherspoon's book club is a juggernaut.
It
It'll
really
be hard to
is.
overtake that, but I would love that you brought this up because celebrity book clubs is just a fascinating topic in general. Probably deserves its own episode.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
that's a good idea.
wonder how the All Things Cozy book club stacks up in terms of our average rating. We should go and run the numbers, Jillian.
Oh, I was already drafting a note to Marie the Third. Where are we on this list? Reese has a cease and desist coming her way any day now. But
From good old paper and ink to technology, circuits, and silicon. My first rivalry that I want to talk about is actually a failed romance, and it is Nintendo versus PlayStation. I love video games, and so this is a rivalry that makes me feel very cozy because we all win when gaming companies feel some competition and put out their best effort. This rivalry in particular goes back to the early 90s, where Sony and Nintendo were collaborating on a CD-ROM attachment for the Super Nintendo called Super NES CD-ROM. But this deal collapsed. And Sony used that tech to create the original PlayStation. And this sparked a decades long console war that forced both companies to innovate. Nintendo focused on unique play styles, generating the Wii and the Switch, while Sony continues to push the boundaries of graphics and cinematic storytelling. And I do remember as a kid at the time, part of your personality in my school was were you PlayStation, were you Nintendo, were you Xbox? And somehow that said something about how much money your parents made, honestly, but
Yeah,
because there were kids too that had all of them, and because most of us couldn't afford every single one of those systems, it'd be way too expensive. You had to kind of like pick a lane. Your friend group all had similar systems oftentimes because you would then go to each other's houses and play, and especially Nintendo. I think even regardless, a lot of kids had Game Boys, and even if you had a PlayStation at home, you might have had a Game Boy to play on the go. And we're all a little agnostic here in terms of these consoles, but I was always rooting for Nintendo a little more because that's what I had.
it's
And
a
that was near and
classic.
dear to my heart. And I think especially when you're little and grow up with it, Nintendo characters are friendly, they're inviting, they're not scary.
Mhm.
I'm much more attached to Mario than I am Lara Croft Tomb Raider. But also, I am who I am. And if I was a little boy who wasn't gay, I might have been more into Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Although I'm saying that as I say that, I'm like, all the gay guys who are like, I stan Lara Croft are getting mad. Of course, she's an icon, she's a queen. But a lot of the guys I know playing that game were focused on something else.
Yes.
But yeah, so in this feud, every gamer is a winner. As I said, it's a rivalry that fueled innovation. And I will say though, like as I've gotten older, I have made more room in my heart for PlayStation. I was able to get a PlayStation 4 secondhand many years after. Like once PlayStation 5 came out, and then someone was like, I don't need this anymore. And I was like, I'll take it. And so I got to play some PlayStation games for the first time in my life. And it does really stand out to you coming from the Nintendo ecosystem, especially how much better the graphics are and how much it can handle like just bigger games. But also at the time too, like cartridge versus CD-ROM. And like I remember thinking
Yeah.
like, oh, those flimsy CD-ROMs, they'll break anytime. But the fact of the matter is it probably held more data. I don't know. Like the graphical capacity was bigger for the CD-ROM. But for whatever reason, Nintendo decided to stick with cartridges. I could be wrong about the technical aspects of that. Don't correct me. Regardless, the one gaming console that I never got attached to was Xbox. For some reason, the Xbox just never, I think it was for my generation, my age, it was the Johnny come lately to the console wars. And for me, it was like, oh no, this is Nintendo versus PlayStation. We don't have room for Xbox. Like Microsoft, go away. Granted, they made a great product. A lot of people love Xbox. But like where I feel like Nintendo and PlayStation have their own feeling of an experience, I've always felt like Xbox feels like a gaming PC with a controller. And that's the difference for me.
I don't think I could even picture Xbox in my head. That's how far
Mhm.
removed I am from Xbox. It always seemed like a really young kid's game.
Yeah, exactly. Because to me, once Xbox came out and tried to have its share of that pie, I had already committed to, in my schema, it's Nintendo and PlayStation.
I had a PlayStation, I didn't have a Nintendo. I don't think I ever felt 2 ways about it, but I did enjoy, like, all the fantasy games that I played on PlayStation, so I have nice memories, actually, on snow days playing PlayStation. But I think Nintendo has more of a stay in folks' hearts because it's so classic and, like you said, more kind of cozy, accessible characters. Everyone's a winner when it comes to gaming, as you said.
Exactly. And I think when I think about like brand rivalries, a lot of times like people do have strong preferences, or it feels like you really get attached to one versus the other. What I like about Nintendo versus PlayStation is there's room for both of them, and that rivalry feels mutually supportive, like healthy, than
Mhm.
other brand competitions.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard the company beefing.
In the grand scheme of things, they've each carved out their own place.
Yes, absolutely.
Jillian, what's another rivalry that has your heart pumping?
I was trying to think inside the category of nostalgia, and I picked Friendlies versus Carvel this round because Friendlies and Carvel have both seen a resurgence, a renaissance, if you will. Carvel specifically for its ice cream cakes and all of its really cute designs. And we've talked before about the iconic 90s witch ice cream cake, or when you think of them, that classic whale version. And then Friendlies, a lot of folks are trying to go back to the restaurant and recreate their chicky tendies. We talked about the ice cream before. The name is escaping me now, but it's that little bat mint ice cream with the Reese's ears. But what's interesting, and I found out, is that Carvel was founded in 1934 in New York by Tom Carvel. And then a year later, Friendlies popped up in Massachusetts thanks to the Blake brothers. So I didn't know that they were so close together, which is why I thought it was a really cool rivalry or comparison to talk about. And both operations first sold ice cream. Friendly started as a small ice cream shop called Friendly, while Carvel operated a traveling ice cream truck before converting it to a roadside ice cream stand. And then, of course, through the years, they changed their operations, and then Friendly's became more of a sit down kind of place where they offered a whole range of items that weren't just desserts, and they expanded. And what's interesting about this rivalry is that the Blake brothers got a loan from their mom, and what they did with that money was create the small ice cream shop called Friendly. And then Tom Carvel, he was just a guy on his own, so I have a little more of affinity for Tom. But from multiple reviews I've read, now going to present day in this rivalry, folks credit Friendlies for having high quality ice cream cakes, while Carvel reigns supreme in the cookie crunch department, with many noting that the crunch is more compact. So I watched a ton of TikTok videos. I went on Reddit, just trying to get the difference because frankly, their ice cream cakes, when you cut them open, look extremely similar. They have the ice cream, the crunch, and then some frosting. Friendly's is more of the whipped frosting, while Carvel is a little bit more thick and compact. I prefer Carvel cakes personally, but I love the experience of sitting down at a Friendly's. This rivalry was definitely a distance polite one. I did a lot of research and looking into whether Carvel and the Blake brothers feuded, any duels. Nothing like that happened. I searched high and low, so if anyone has any intel that contradicts this, please let me know. What's interesting is that Blake brothers had their own feud years later over money and selling the company and different things. So that's a whole feud in of
Internal
itself.
feud, yeah. But we're
Internal
not going to see
feud.
any Ryan Murphy show for Carvel versus Friendlies. However, that's part of what makes it cozy, right? Is like they're competitors, but they're friendly competitors.
Exactly. And so the comparison mostly exists with customers on social media, but it's always super gentle and good spirited. I've never seen anyone all throughout my research say, Carville sucks, friendly's crap, or whatever, or any fightings, no curse words thrown out or anything like that.
Although, Gillian, one time I was watching you post on social media and you were writing exactly that. So I have some questions.
Yeah, choke on that crunch. Not so friendly.
Gillian's a huge troll in the ice cream cake world.
All jokes aside, there's nothing cozier than a friendly, no pun intended, competition over ice cream. So
Absolutely. Totally agree. And now I'm hungry. Now I want some ice cream cake.
it's also the second time throughout the history of this show that I've talked about the history of Tom Carvel. Like this
I know you exactly. You can't get enough.
Kingsman.
We're obsessed. Here's another property that we've mentioned before because, it comes up as a huge movie franchise, but I think it's also a great example of rivals turned best friends. And that is Woody versus Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story. And as seen in the original Toy Story, which came out in 1995, this rivalry has two toys turning from get out of my spot to you've got a friend in me. Woody the Cowboy, voiced by Tom Hanks, is the established top toy of Andy's Toy Box, while Buzz Lightyear, voiced by Tim Allen, is the shiny new thing who is so fresh out of the box he doesn't even realize he's a toy. Their conflict stems from Woody's fear of being replaced, but fortunately, they both come to realize Andy's imagination is big enough for the both of them. And why I think this is cozy, aside from the fact that the Toy Story movies are just incredibly cozy, sweet movies in general, is that feeling of being often irrationally threatened by the latest and the greatest is a very human, relatable feeling. And so this rivals to best friends example teaches us that love isn't a limited resource. And as a kid obsessed with toys myself, I knew too well that each of my plastic pals had a special place in my heart. I could never compare my babies. So don't ask me to play favorites with my Star Wars toys or my Alien toys or my Beanie Babies. They were all special to me, each and every one.
That was very beautifully said. And this is an iconic rivalry. And it's a true example of it. And it's a really good one because, like you said, they started off as enemies or frenemies and they became the most revered duo in animated history, I think. There's no comparison.
Yeah, I think Chip and Dale would have
Oh
a
yeah,
bone to pick
I
with
can't
you.
forget my Chip and my Dale.
But those cartoons were always friends. Woody and Buzz, like their friendship is hard won. Like they did not like each other at all. And they don't like each other at various points throughout the franchise still at some points. Like their personalities don't fully mesh all the time. But it's such a great message for kids too that like you don't have to initially like somebody for them to end up being someone that you love and care about. You have to like everything about somebody for them to matter. And it's a great message and also a classic rivalry.
Yeah, they teach each other to grow, which really lends itself to my next rivalry. It's very similar from Gilmore Girls, Paris Geller versus Rory Gilmore. From school rivals to unlikely BFFs. So similarly to Woody and Buzz, they hated each other and they felt threatened by one another. So Rory and Paris met at Chilton, a prep school that Rory transferred to in the middle of her high school career. They are immediate enemies, with Paris feeling intimidated that Rory is a true competitor for her, while Rory is rocked by the fact that she is not immediately liked by someone. It's Rory's first real conflict. So, if you've ever seen Gilmore Girls, or if you haven't, you know that the running joke is that everyone loves Rory. She can do no wrong. So, it was also very gratifying to see Rory up against someone who was giving her a hard time for once in her life. And that really bonds them throughout their time at Chilton because Rory teaches Paris kindness, vulnerability, and friendship, while Paris teaches Rory to speak up, be more confident and resilient. So even though they're fighting throughout their school career, through these challenges, they're bringing out these qualities that the other lacks, which is a really cool thing to see growth in characters. And then, although Paris seems to overestimate her friendship with Rory, as Rory is her only true friend, they are true friends. And when Paris manipulates her way into becoming Rory's roommate at Yale, they face deeper conflicts and bonding than ever before. It also proves Paris will be in Rory's life forever, which we see play out in Revival A Year in the Life. So it's a rival that encourages growth, and that's super cozy. They're both different people thanks to the other. And it's also rewarding to see someone meet their intellectual equal. But more than anything, they have a rapport that is unintentionally hilarious. They're so quick with one another and trade effortless barbs. I think it's my favorite relationship on the show. Forget Jess and Rory, forget Jess and I was gonna say Jess and Dean, but hey, maybe there's a heated rivalry spinoff for Jess and Dean. But all the romantic relationships I can cast aside for Rory and Paris.
Yeah, this is a great example of school-based competition. It's reminding me a little of like Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy or
Hmm.
like classic school rivals, and then people realizing that they have more in common than just their competition, or they chill out a little bit and see each other as people and not just as jockeying for some limited attention or limited place in the hierarchy. And so this is a wonderful television example of a classic rivalry.
Yes.
To close out, I have one that's literary based and is a true rivals to lovers example. And on the topic of Harry Potter, this is a fantasy based rivals turned lover example. And it's from Rainbow Rowell's series Carry On, a young adult novel series about these characters named Simon Snow and Baz Pitch, who are roommates at a magical school called Watford, who are destined to be enemies. And it is based on Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy because Rainbow Rowell wrote a book called Fangirl. And the fangirl in that book writes fan fiction for the Simon Snow series, which is like a version of Harry Potter in this fictional universe, where Simon and Baz fall in love. And that's like a common fanfic thing where like Harry and Draco fall in love. The entire, I think, ecosystem of Tumblr and Zanga
Yes.
rested on a lot of these examples of fan fiction. Rainbow Rowell takes this to another level. So like it starts off as like this idea of a funny fan fiction analog, but she takes it so seriously and it elevates it so far past that inspiration. In the novel, Simon is convinced that Baz is plotting his demise, while Baz is secretly pining for Simon while trying to maintain his brooding vampire image because, like, it gets weird. Like, Simon has dragon wings by the end of the book, first one, and a dragon tail they can't magically hide, or they can, but it's difficult. And Baz is a vampire, so that's a huge problem, too. Like, we're blending Twilight and Harry Potter. It's all this, like, one big fan fiction rivals to lovers example. And I think it's such a great, like, if you're a fan of any of those types of properties, like this is a great thing to look at because it's going to feed all of those fans from those different franchises. And why I think it's cozy is that obsession can so easily look like hate, but be really something else. And Simon spends so much of his time watching Baz to catch him being evil because he's the Draco Malfoy analog. He's a, not, it seems like he's aligned with the bad guys, that he accidentally learns every detail of his soul. Well, since being Simon's roommate in their very early years at Watford, Baz already had developed a crush I wanted to highlight this one as both a really fun fan fiction series, but also a great example of rivals to lovers.
Yeah, I'm glad we ended on this note because I think this is one of the most iconic categories of Rivals, the romance factor. So
Hmm.
we've talked about business, nostalgia, TV, innovation tech, and now we're ending on, I think, what a lot of fans want the most to see those folks get together, unlikely pairings.
Exactly. It's a common trope in romance. It's also the trope of like nearly every Hallmark Channel movie.
That's true.
I think because as a viewer, it's fun to watch people barb each other a little bit. And like sometimes it can be hard to watch something so sickeningly sweet. And so, oh, we always liked each other from the very beginning. And having it be a little less precious at first and a little rough and tumble, it brings out more comedy, it brings out more drama. And I think that makes for just more interesting stuff to read and watch. And so, huge thank you to the rivals turn lovers trope for giving us much more interesting romance books, movies, and television.
You're here.
Before these not so heated rivalries cool off even more, let's do a quick cozy rivalry lightning round. I'm going to name a rivalry and we're both going to pick a side and we're not going to think too hard about it. Are you ready, Julian?
Yes, I'm
Here we go.
excited.
Uber versus Lyft.
Lyft because I'm at war with Uber.
Wait, I want to hear that. I want to hear why. Is it something we can talk about on air? Or...
Yes, I'm really passionate about it. I'll try and make this quick, but they flagged my account as suspicious. I've had my account for years and years. I was using it so much because I am without car right now. So I've been Ubering around. I do a lot of delivery, probably their best customer. And there's no rhyme or reason. I did a lot of research on this. I went into Reddit threads. Apparently, they had this AI algorithm that sometimes just flags, that does a review and flags it suspicious for whatever reason. And then the decision is final.
That's crazy. So yeah, I would have a few too. I totally get your rationale.
Oh, yeah. And then they send me emails like, we've missed you, haven't seen you around. And every time I email back,
Wow.
here's why.
Manipulative. Yeah, I would pick Lyft too because A, the pink is way cuter. B, I've always found that Lyft is a bit less pretentious, a little less trying to seem like, oh, you're going to get your fancy black car and show up at the function looking like a celeb. It's really much more about, hey, we have this eccentric guy. He's going to get you from point A to point B. Hold on to your hat. Like that. I feel like I like that kind of rough and tumble energy that Lyft brings.
I agree.
All right, physical books or e-readers?
Physical books.
Physical books for me too. I really wanted to dive into the, oh, I have every book at the tip of my fingers and an e-reader, but the fact of the matter is I love turning that page.
Agreed.
Coke versus Pepsi.
Pepsi.
Ooh, okay. For me, it's Diet Coke. I'll drink a Diet
Mm.
Pepsi. I'm not gonna be mad about it. I won't be that person who, when the server says, "Well, actually, we have Pepsi," I'm like, "No, I couldn't possibly. It has to be Diet Coke or nothing." I will gladly have Diet Pepsi, but if I'm gonna pick one or the other, the absolutely crazy metallic mineral flavor of Diet Coke gets me every time. Paper planner or digital calendar?
Digital calendar.
I'm a paper planner. I got to write it down.
Really?
Yes. I put things in a
Wow.
digital calendar and that helps remind me for things sometimes, but I have a whole like paper planner that I keep.
Maybe I need to get into that.
I don't look at it so much, but because I write it down, I remember it. Target or Walmart?
Target just because I don't have a Walmart near me.
Walmart for me because it's for the people.
Oh, yeah, me and my
Say what
bougie
you will.
Target.
Okay, look, I know that sounds crazy because you're like, they destroyed my mom and pop store. Like, I get that. They're awful. Evil, definitely. But I can afford Walmart. And when I go into Target, sometimes I'm like, you're charging this much for that. And I don't have that feeling at Walmart.
It's true, they have up their prices, but I do like that little freebie, not freebie, but really cheap section up at the front with little knickknacks and cutesy stuff.
Yeah, that's true. They know how to lure you in. They got Jillian's number.
I do.
Final rivalry, Snow Miser or Heat Miser?
I'm gonna say Heat Miser because he's really grown on me, that little meatball, and he's like way more unhinged.
I'm all about the Snow Miser. I find him to be just delightful and nimble and just, he's a gangly little weird guy. I like the Snow
Mm,
Miser.
they're hard to compare. They're both so amazing.
That is a wrap on our cozy rivals to lovers episode. We're trying to get onto the heated rivalry bandwagon, but it was in the air. We had to talk about it, and it's a cozy topic, I think.
I think so too.
And we hope you think that too. Moving on from these not so heated rivalries and into our candle review, we're going to keep the theme going with Enemies to Lovers by Briarwick Candles. And they describe this as the ultimate fan favorite trope. Enemies to Lovers smells how it feels to read. spicy cinnamon with sweet orange. And Briarwood Candles does partnerships with authors and book series and literary connections to the scents that they feature. And I will say they have a heated rivalry candle set, and like you buy them as a pair. Like you buy the Ilya and the Shane candle together. I think you can buy them maybe separately, but like why would you? It's a great site to check out because you can dive in and get a candle related to your favorite book series or tropes that you love, and it's a cute concept. This is a 4 ounce jar that I got for $12. Very affordable, very reasonable. And the scent notes are mandarin, goji berry, and blood orange at the top. The middle is sriracha, chili pepper, black pepper, ginger, and cinnamon. And then the base is vanilla. So, yeah, we have a lot of spiciness in this
A lot
candle.
going on.
Yeah. What I really love is you think about the scent notes, they really thought about, okay, we have bitter, we have spicy, but at the end, we're going to go smooth with vanilla. You start off with the scent hitting you as a little acidic, a little bit feisty, and then it settles into a vanilla base. And I think that's a really thoughtful way of constructing the scent related to the trope. So I have to give them hats off for that. The smell is a very kind of deep berry smell, is what I'm getting from this. And I think I'm really getting, I say this a lot and it's a good thing. It smells to me like a gift store, a place that has a lot of wicker in it. It's a very spicy scent, and I enjoy that quite a bit. It would almost smell Christmassy, actually, when you're getting that kind of orangey, peppery ginger smell, but it's not going so far into the holiday direction. I like it. It's very pleasant. It's very energizing, I would say. And I'm going to give this Enemies to Lovers candle a wick up.
I think it's just really smart marketing. They hopped in
Yeah.
on this hot trend, so I bet those are flying off the shelves. And I'm curious, did sriracha come through, or
No, I would say I don't smell sriracha, though I think when I use sriracha, I don't smell it either.
that's true. That's fair.
But I'm not one of those people that has like sriracha shirts or anything like that. So I know there's probably people listening who are much more sriracha fanatics who would really be able to smell sriracha from a mile away. That's not me. I want to say like sriracha, I have almost like a millennial trauma around like bacon, sriracha, and mustaches, where I felt like a lot of our millennial compatriots were like obsessing over all of those things at a certain
Bacon?
point. Yeah, bacon.
I don't remember
You don't remember
that.
that? I feel like everyone's going wild about bacon. It was like,
Wild about
but
bacon.
first bacon. I don't know. Is it just my circles? I don't know. Maybe it's from maybe being from the Midwest, everyone was way more into bacon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look into
Well, I
that.
hope for the loose hog in your neighborhood's sake, everyone's really chilled out on
Yeah,
bacon.
hope so.
We've dueled it out. Let's trade in our soft edged swords for friendship and a cozy shout out to Claire, the newest member of our Patreon. Thank you, Claire, for your support.
Yeah, I think this is our first new patron of the month, so that's pretty exciting.
Thank you, Claire, for being our first patron of February. And we're very excited to be in this month of love with all of you. We love your support and listenership. If you would like to share the love, you can join our Patreon and support our show, get access to our book club episodes, get a cozy mug, get some cozy stickers or magnets. You can do that on our Patreon page at patreon.com/allthingscozy and keep up with us. You can stalk us on the internet like a former lover turned a former rival. You're a rival, but you're going to become a lover. Hop on our Instagram page and jealously look at our posts at All Things Cozy Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. We're also on Blue Sky at All Things Cozy. All right, and with that, we'll have a brand new cozy episode in your feed in just a couple more weeks. Until next time, stay cozy.